Hey everyone, it's Leanna George here with By George Organizing, and today I want to answer the question, do I really have to label everything? Now, if you have read any books or articles or blog posts about organizing or getting organized, then you've probably read that you need to label as much as you possibly can. I mean, obviously there's some things you can't label, but if it's possible to label it, you should. Well, a lot of people, when they hear that, they tell me, I don't like to label. I don't want to label. Do I really have to? And I'm here to tell you that no, you don't have to. It's not a hard and fast rule. It is not going to make or break your organizing efforts. And if you don't label, it doesn't mean you'll never be organized. Okay, so let's just clear that off the table right off the bat. However, and you knew there was going to have to be like a but or a however in here. However, I do want to tell you that if you choose to label, it really can make a difference in your organizing efforts. And I want to give you 3 reasons why, okay? And once you have the whys, then I think the hows become a little bit easier. So the first reason I want to encourage you to reconsider labeling, or your anti-labeling attitude maybe, is that it helps you define homes for the things you want to contain. And let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, you have decided that you have this one container and this is where you want to put the chips. But you decide, I don't want to label it, I just want to put chips in there and that's where it's going to go. Well, that's great. That's fine. You've done a great job. You've organized it, you've sorted, and you've placed it in a container. The problem is, because you didn't label it, then it becomes an attraction for other people to dump stuff in there because there's no defined assignment, no defined home for that basket. So the next thing you know, you've got granola bars in there, and you've got, different kinds of cereal or oatmeal bags or, fruit snacks, and it becomes a mess. And it's not what you meant for it to do, but because we didn't label it chips, now we've got everything else in there. So the first thing you want to remember is that labels, although they may not be your friends, they will help you create defined homes for things. The second reason why you should label is because of the other people you live with. Now, if you live with other people in the house, then you probably remember or have had episodes where people are calling out to you, hey, where is the whatever? Or, I can't find this, where is it? Or, they don't put things back where they belong. I know this from personal experience. And that's because whatever it is they were looking for didn't have a label on it. And so they didn't know where to find it, and they certainly didn't know where to put it back. So if you want to avoid the frustration of your other family members that live with you, or whoever it is that lives with you, roommates, whatever, if you want to avoid that frustration, then I want to encourage you to label your stuff. Because I promise you, if you do, it will make a difference. And let me just give you a personal story to tell you. And you may have heard this before, and if you had, I apologize. But one day, I was watching my husband go into the pantry with a bag of chips. And there is a bin in our pantry labeled chips. And he went into the pantry and he put them in the basket labeled chips. Now, of course, I was thrilled because my husband doesn't tend to be on the organized side. But I asked him when he came out, I said, why did you put the chips in the basket? And he said, because there was a label that told me to put them there. And I was like, yes. So, I mean, it makes it easier for those we live with to help us stay organized, get organized, and maintain organizing efforts in our home. So that's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is that I have found that labeling is the easiest solution to limit the chaos and confusion. I walk into homes of clients and of other people, and it's amazing to me how they'll have containers and they'll have things sorted out, and they're telling me how frustrated they are because it's so cluttered. And I'm just thinking to myself, all you need is a simple label. That's it. It's the easiest of all the options for getting organized. It's the easiest one to get things back in order. So, try it out. Don't let this fear that I have to label everything keep you from being more organized. Now I know, like I said, once we have the why, then we can get the how. So let me show you some labels that I think will help you in your organizing efforts. Now, of course, when people talk about labels, the first thing they want to talk about is a label maker, right? A label maker. Now, a lot of people don't like label makers because they think they're boring, they're generic, you know, they're not aesthetically pleasing, because just to have this white little label with some black print is very boring, okay, and not aesthetically pleasing. I get it. Some people, it's not their thing. But there are some things called washi tape that come in different colors and patterns and designs that can give a little spice and a little bit of oomph to your plain boring label. And I always say boring is as boring does. So maybe if you do have a label maker, but you don't want to have it be so generic, think about just getting some washi tape and maybe some different colors, different patterns, different designs, and spicing up your label maker labels. It will make a big difference. The other thing you can do that is so simple is just to get a piece of paper, just a plain piece of paper, and get a marker and just write what it is. I don't know if you can see this because of the sun. What it is you want to label. Very cheap, very cost effective. Just write Legos on there, and then just get some tape, some regular clear shipping packing tape, and stick it on top of your piece of paper. Sorry, I gotta do this for you because I can't handle this. And then stick it to your container. Makes it simple and easy. Now, most likely this will come off once you get some heat or some humidity, but it's a cheap and easy way to just throw some labels and help give defined homes to things. Another way to do it that's quick and easy is to use tape. You can use painter's tape. You could use duct tape. You could use masking tape. Simply just take that in a Sharpie, write what you want, and stick it on there. Makes it so simple. I have a friend, that's what they did in their garage. They had a whole bunch of plastic containers, and they just got masking tape, or maybe it was painter's tape, I can't remember, and they would put rags, you know, screwdrivers, and that was their way to label it. It doesn't take much. The other brand that's very popular right now is Scotch Tape. They have big tapes like this that come in chalkboard or dry erase in different colors, so you could, you know, razzle dazzle it a little bit. And you can find those at Office Depot or, you know, Target or places like that that could also be used as well. Now, a lot of people have fabric bins to organize and contain their stuff, which are great. You know, if you have those Closet Made or the IKEA cubbies and you want to put your bins in there to hold toys or socks or clothes or whatever, problem is, nothing likes to stick to those. And so it's really, really hard to put a label on it. And that adds to the chaos and the confusion, right? So the wonderful thing is now they've come out with bin clips. And they're simple little clips just like this. Come in different designs, different styles. And then, I don't know if you can see the picture, it just clips on. This one doesn't have a handle like some of them do. It just clips onto the edge of the bin. If you have a handle, you could just clip it to the handle. And these are just paper that makes it kind of look locker style. These are more playful for little kids. They've also got some in chalkboard that you could just use chalk and then erase it if you change out the bin. So there's an option. If you didn't want to spend the money on this, a relatively cheap idea that I have used before that works just as well on the fabric bins is to get a whole bunch of name badges. You know, when you go to a conference and they put a piece of paper with your name in here and then you clip this to your clothes, okay? Same idea, except now take the paper and put in what's in the container. So all I did was I had a name badge from a conference I went to, got some stickers, and just put them on the paper, and then you just slide it inside the name badge. And voila, you've got a label for your fabric bin. You can buy these in quantities of like 40 or 50 and then change out the paper as you need them, but they're great. And I always tell people, especially when you have kids, use stickers, generate pictures, and then put the words. It'll help them with their reading if they're little, and if they can't, you know, read, then they can use the pictures to know where to put things back. So that's a fourth kind of label, or bin clips. And then of course you've just got any kind of adhesive that you might want to use. Just a plain decorative. I went to Office Depot and picked up some really cheap little cute See Jane Work labels, and then I could use them for like chips, and I use them in my pantry to label my baskets there. They come in like 12 and they come in different colors, nothing fancy to them, and then you just write on them. So that's one idea. Of course, everybody's on the trend to use chalkboard labels. That's common as well. You can order them off Amazon. You can probably find them at Walmart or Target too. And they come in different shapes, different designs, and then you just erase them with your chalkboard pen. So really helpful. I found these at the Container Store, and I really like these. They're the same concept as the name badge, but instead of being a clip, it's an adhesive. So it's just like the name badge. It's got this clear plastic container holder, and it's got the paper that goes in and out, but then on the back, instead of being a clip, it's sticky. So it's kind of sticky, sticks to your finger, and then you can just stick that to your plastic bin or container. And then if you change items or you change bins and things, instead of taking and losing the adhesiveness and the stickiness, all you have to do is change out the paper. So that's great, and that comes in 2 different sizes. Now these I've only found at the Container Store, but you have a little bit bigger, and then you have the smaller one. So love these as well. And then another cheap idea that will get you a lot of distance with your labels are address labels. These are the large ones of 3x4 inch, and they come with 60 labels, and you can put pictures and words and run it through your computer, print them out, stick them on. They're great. So this is what I did with one, and I just did it to show you. I picked a picture of a doll, and then I got some labels. I just did this by hand, but you can run these through your printer. I didn't want to run the whole sheet. But then you just run it through your printer, and then you just peel it off the paper, stick it to your container, and you can get 60 labels. And then your kids can help you design on the computer. And the template's already there. If you use the Avery whatever template number to go in your Microsoft Word document, makes it really simple and easy. Another idea that is really popular too, especially if you have bins or baskets that have handles or that have like weave to them, some kind of texture that makes it hard to stick anything to it, is to use gift bag tags. So then you just loop these through the open hole of the basket, put what's on there, and then it's labeled for your basket, which is a really great idea. I found these at Target in their home section. They're ceramics, same idea, same concept. You just use a pen to write on them, and then you just hang them on there. So they're a little bit fancier, but you know, still does the same job. And they come in different sizes. They also have, they're just hanging labels that come in a round or a square. So those are some really great ideas. You could also just use your computer to print some out, or if you have something like a Silhouette machine, you can make the sky's the limit of what you could do with a label and create some. So these are just some ideas to help you with the how, because sometimes I think people get overwhelmed and think that they've got to have these things that look like Pinterest, and they don't. You can tell, you can just use a piece of paper and a marker and make a label. The important thing is, like I said, it really does cut down on the confusion. It helps define where those homes you've assigned your things to, and it helps the other people in your house. Now, I mentioned in my description of today's live that there's one label that you must have to be truly successful when it comes to being organized. And you're probably thinking, well, what is that? She's talked about all these other things. Well, it's not a physical label, but it's a label that you give to yourself. Let me explain. When I meet people, hi Susie, how are you today? When I meet people and tell them, you know, I'm an organizer, or I go give a speech and talk about organizing topics, I always meet people who will come up to me and say, well, I'll never be as organized as you, or I don't know how to organize, or I can't organize. And what they're doing is labeling themselves as unorganized or disorganized. And when you do that, when you wear that label, then that limits your ability to be organized. So the one label that you really must have to get organized is the one that says this, and it says, I am organized. Okay, this is the label, because when you have the belief that you can be organized, which you can, it's a skill that anybody can learn. It's a skill that anybody can figure out, either by reading or hiring an organizer, whatever the case may be. But if you will wear this label, I am organized, then you will find the organizing success you want. You will find the order and the peace that you long for. But you have to have this label in your head and in your heart. And then once you do, then you're going to have the life you're longing for. So anyway, that's it for me for today. I hope that maybe you're moving after this live from, do I have to label everything, to I really want to label. So hopefully I gave you good enough reasons why you should be, giving you a few ideas of how you can label, and then of course encouraged you to remember that you can be organized. You are what you say you are. So hopefully you will walk away today with nothing else. I hope you remember you can be organized. That's it for me today. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Have a great one. Bye-bye.